Next, we're going to do a regression, a simpler regression where we're going to make a formula, a line, y equal mx plus b. Y is the x and y axis on a graph, m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. And to do this, let's go back to our Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to get another copy of the original. So control page up, page up, page up until we get to original. And then to make a copy of this page, F6 to get to the tab, menu, M for move, end to put it at the bottom, tab to create a copy, space to check that, and then enter to make it so. And then I'm going to rename this F6 menu R regression. Now for the regression, it's going to make this slope, and the x-axis needs to be simpler than the quarters. In Excel, each date is actually a number. It's the number of days since January 1st, 1900, and that's a lot of days. When ours one starts, the one my data example starts on September 30th, 2011, so a lot of days since 1900. So I can't really use that as my data point. It makes the regression sticky to work with. So I'm going to make my own x-axis. So I'm going to go over the B column here and go control space to select the column, and then control plus to add one, and then up arrow to type over this. I'm going to call it period. And then I'm going to type 1, enter, and then the reason is change that 1 into January 1st, 1900, because it assumes the same number format as the one to the left of it that was theoretically made from quarters, and I don't want it to be. So I'm going to go control 1 and to format the cell, and I'm going to shift control page up, page up, page up, page up to numbers, and I'm just going to put it up and then tab down to the category. Right now it's on date, and I'm going to use the up arrows to go general and then enter. And then I'm going to make a little formula below this, equal whatever that is plus 1, enter, and I have to do the same thing here. Control 1, tab down, general, enter, and I'm going to stay on that 2, shift, and then end down, and I'm going to even go down to the ones that cover our year, the yellow year, because later it's going to compare that. I just want a real x-axis for the same reason the dates go down that far, and then control D. And then control home. And when I run a regression, I need to put the regression summary output somewhere where I can see it and it's not taking space. And I'm going to choose this space down here below the chart. And then I'm going to go into Alt-A, and the data analysis that we loaded last time that we needed for the Holt winters and all the Holt ones, that we brought in data analysis as well as solver. This is when we need the data analysis. So type in Y2, and I've done this before. I've gone to regression. You probably, when you first load it, it's on something else, and you have to just arrow down to regression. It's in alphabetical order, and then enter. And then notice that the Y range and X range below that, they ask, do you want labels? And we do. I want to include labels. So the Y range is the historic revenue data. So hit the up arrow, and I'm going to actually go control home and arrow over to historic, and I'm going to include the word historic as a label, and then go shift and down, and then while I'm still holding shift, up arrow at 4 to not include our comparative year, the last year. And so I've now finished that. Now I'm going to put in the X range, and that's why we made period, is to be the new X range. So tab down to that, and then control home, arrow over to B1, and then shift and down. But again, while you're still holding shift, up arrow at 4. and then tab again, and we do want it labeled, so I'm going to put a space bar here, and then tab again, 3 times to the output, and they initially want to make a whole new worksheet, but I don't want that. I'm going to use the up arrow to say I want it in a certain range within this current sheet, and then tab over, and where we want that range, I'm going to go Control Home, and then I'm going to go down to line 22 and across to F, and that's what I'm choosing. And then when I hit enter, it will happen. There's my summary output. Now the really important things that we need from here are the intercept and the period. Period is the slope of the, in our case, x-axis. So this slope right here, negative 70.0849, and the intercept is 2037.6.52. But there's a couple other things I want to show, and one of them is the r squared. I have a very bad r squared. If r squared was 1, that'd be perfect correlation, and usually doesn't happen in statistics, but it's usually like 0.85, 0.9, that kind of thing. Mine being 0.06 means that this doesn't have a good regression. Now I'm going to make my forecast fit this y equal mx plus b. So this is the y, so what does this forecast y equal? It equals mx plus b. So m is going to go down to the slope, this period, and I'm going to f for it, because I want to always be referring to this slope, times x, so times the x-axis, in this quarter, the period is 1, times by 1, mx plus, and then the y-intercept, this number, and f for that one as well, and then enter. And that changed them all, which in this case is what I wanted. And look at the gray line now in here. You can see that it roughly does go through kind of the best fit line of this chart, and yet the orange goes all over the place. It's not really on the line very much, and that's why it's such a low r squared value. It's not really good representative. And look at the MAPE, 15%, not that good. The next one that we're going to be doing, seasonal regression, will be better.